literally millions of years worth of prenatal vitamins to mothers and expectant mothers and babies in need around the world. So there's just, it's exciting. It really is. It's a wonderful thing to discover. If you're discovering Andrew Lessman for the first time, we welcome you. We have two today's specials. So of course the Maximum Essential Omega-3 is still here for you.
That's the principal today's special. But because in many people's minds, and many folks have been recommended to take omega-3s, it's because say your cardiologist, your doctor recognizes the cardiovascular benefits, the health benefits associated with the cardiovascular system, your heart. But vitamin K2 MK7 is an ingredient that is also remarkably important for your heart, but in a very, very different way. It's unfortunate that vitamin K2 shares its name with vitamin K1, because typical vitamin K, vitamin K1, which has to do with coagulation, blood coagulation, that's not the role of vitamin K2. Vitamin K2's role, vitamin K2 MK7, its role specifically is the regulation of calcium in your body. It regulates calcium being incorporated into, say, bony tissue. It regulates how our osteoblasts and osteoclasts function. It regulates the avoidance of incorporation of calcium into soft tissue in which we do not want it to be incorporated, like our arterial walls. Our arteries are very dynamic tissues. Many of us like to think of our arteries like a pipe that they just don't change, things go through. But no, our arteries, like all the tissues in our body, are constantly being remodeled and are constantly being repaired, tissue being replaced, cells being replaced. We want to make sure that when we're repairing and replacing those cells, and of course with our arteries, we're concerned about high levels of cholesterol and cholesterol potentially being incorporated into those arterial walls as plaque, or if we have high blood pressure, which creates greater inflammation in those arterial walls. We don't want calcium as part of that process of repair of those arterial walls. We don't want calcium to be incorporated into those arterial walls, causing calcification and causing those arterial walls to lose flexibility and to lose resiliency. That's where vitamin K2 MK7 comes in. A recent published study confirmed once again that vitamin K2 MK7 directly benefits arterial flexibility. And what I said before, I've said this in, I believe, the video I had shot talking about this product in advance, I talked about the fact that yes, heart health is all about making sure that our heart is healthy, but really what determines our cardiovascular health is the health of our coronary arteries. When you hear about people getting a stent performed, or you hear about them perhaps getting bypass surgery, it's generally when there's blockages in key coronary arteries. Obviously, there can be issues with heart valves and things like that, but typically what we're talking about, what we want to do is we want to keep our coronary arteries open and flexible. And so vitamin K2 MK7 is a vitamin that supports calcium going where it's supposed to go and must go. We must have calcium for our bones, but not going where we don't want it to go, which is in our arteries and other tissues in our body.
Interesting. Let me show you what the choices are. You can do the Try Me at a 30.
Best pricing ever.
Yep, absolutely. And the only time it's ever been a Today's Special. So this is by far the best time ever to try it or to stock up. 30, 60, 180, 360, or 720. Here is where the regular HSN pricing would normally be. By the way, the 720 is here just for the Today's Special. And you can see it's $119.90. You're saving $110, $60, $35, $15, or $8, again, depending on the size. Here are your flex pays on the larger choices. We have free shipping and handling on everything for you. And it's just a really fun product because there's so much new to learn. Last time I worked with you, and when we talked about this, I bought it. Yes, I take a lot of these products. I take most of these, I really do. And they work for me. I've been doing this with Andrew 22 years. I told you, I was not a vitamin person at all. But now I love it. I love that I have a better quality of life. I love the way I feel when I take these products. I like that it's an easy way to do something healthy every single day for myself. And when you learn the benefits of an ingredient like this, it's kind of hard to turn your back on it. And especially now today that it's a Today's Special, we all can stock up and try it. So it's fairly new to your line. We haven't been talking about the vitamin K2 MK7 very often, so it's kind of fun to get to learn about something new, and it's exciting to hear all the great benefits attached to it.
I've probably been making vitamin K2 MK7 for a little over 5 years.
Okay.
Not long after it became available, it took a couple of years of testing and our validation to confirm it, and then all the science just continued to roll in. What I've been saying about vitamin K2 MK7 recently, sort of what I was saying about vitamin D 35 plus years ago, that vitamin D was sort of the unsung hero, that we talked about vitamin C back then all the time, and vitamin E all the time, and vitamin B12. But I kept saying that vitamin D is the vitamin that you didn't want to go through life without having an optimum level. Probably took about 25 years for everyone out there to catch up with the science that was available. Even back then, the science was clear, at least to me. And I view vitamin K2 MK7 as being sort of the unsung hero that vitamin D was. And what I love about vitamin D is incredibly, incredibly affordable. Vitamin K2 MK7 isn't as affordable as vitamin D, but it's become more affordable, which is great. Our 100 micrograms is now more affordable than originally when we introduced 50 micrograms. So that's a great thing.
So if we don't supplement it, how else do we get this in our diet?
Unless you're eating a rather unusual Japanese diet where you're eating Japanese fermented foods like natto or fermented soy foods, you are not getting your vitamin K2.
Okay.
So unfortunately, as an American, we are getting vitamin K1 from typical sources like our green leafy vegetables, but we are not getting vitamin K2 MK7. Okay. We just are not. And the science, we didn't even have a chance to incorporate all of the latest science into the charts. There's so much great recent science. But just a couple of these charts here quickly. From the Journal of Nutritional Science and Vitaminology, epidemiologic and basic studies indicate that vitamin K possesses a benefit in the prevention of the progression of coronary artery calcification. Calcified Tissue International. The present study revealed more favorable changes in bone metabolism and bone mass indices. I haven't even talked about how this improves bone health for 2 vitamin K supplemented groups. And what's most interesting, observational studies revealed a lower prevalence of arterial calcification and cardiovascular mortality in subjects with a high intake of monoquinones, that's what vitamin MK7 is, monoquinone, as opposed to phylloquinone, which is typical vitamin K1. So vitamin K1, that's coagulation, and that's the original name. In German, coagulation is spelled with a K. Oh. That's where vitamin K1 comes from. Long-term supplementation with 180 micrograms monoquinone per day, vitamin K2, for 3 years decreased arterial stiffness in healthy postmenopausal women, especially in women with high arterial stiffness. Nice. And I just read a number of studies just confirming that. Progression of aortic stiffness, that's the aorta is the large vessel leaving the heart, and the amount of force that aorta has to tolerate over the course of our lifetime, enormous pressures. We want that to retain its elasticity, its flexibility. We don't want it to be calcified. Progression of aortic stiffness was related to the severity of vitamin K deficiency. Wow. And unfortunately, because so many of us have been dealing with taking blood clotting medications and things like that where you can't take vitamin K1, or you